Just so you guys know, the way I actually did it, because I am with the Small Business Administration, I'm doing it much more, it's kind of just a basic and an overview. What is a small business? How's it built? Why is it what we say it is? And just to give you some ideas and the things, and very specific steps that you just need to follow. Some of you you've already done, some of them you haven't, some of them we should review. So that's what really a lot of this is. Because one of the things that most people don't realize what the center is, it's a service. We offer free information for small businesses in almost any part of its growth. So we have specialists that are, hello, hey bud. Anyway, and we have specialists that are like, I'm the marketing person. We have somebody who does funding and finance. I have somebody who's a manufacturing person. I have another import-export. So it kind of depends on what you're really interested in, and that helps me determine who you should really talk to.
Okay.
At the SBDC. You can come in as a small business, and we give you up to at least 10 just, free sessions. And if you need more than that, you just have to ask us and we'll get you more.
Okay.
So what you get the opportunity is to work with people that have been in their fields forever. And it's kind of their way of getting back, but it's also their way of staying current too. Obviously, I've been doing this a very long time. I do focus really on the marketing side. I also do new business launches, though. I also really take businesses from all different parts in their life cycle. So even if you've been in business 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter to me. But the approach I may take with you might be very different. If you're starting a business, it's different because I'm looking at all the pieces of, did you do this, did you do that, did you do that? And a lot of what we're doing is just checking off that you've done all that. All right. The other thing that you just heard me say, that I joined SBDC about 3 months ago, and the reason I did that is because I do work this area. So not only do I understand marketing, but I've also got a pretty in-depth level of understanding now of the local area. A lot of people don't understand what a real small business is. It's a kind of a really bizarre and fuzzy connotation. The SBA has one definition, which is a small business administration, but every place is a little bit different, okay? So if you're thinking of a small business, it's really interesting. It is based on your employees over the last 12 months, which is interesting, but it's also based on your annual receipts over the last 3 years. In certain industries, and this is where it gets funky, depending on the industry. In the United States, you guys wouldn't, you would know this, but most of the United States, the industries are all broken down into certain what we call codes. They're standard industry codes. And that's what this is really referring to. So, for example, when you're talking about mining and manufacturing, it's 500 employees or less. That would not be the case like with a individual proprietorship or something. They would just be different. And this was kills me. 7.5 million in annual receipts for non-manufacturing industries. I mean, just kind of really interesting the way it's been defined. Again, there are a lot of exceptions. In your case, you will definitely be small businesses, but I like people to understand what do we consider a small business. In addition to standards, this is really important. It's actually organized for profit. So non-profit doesn't really qualify. We do squeeze them in, but they really shouldn't be in this particular, for this definition very specifically. You're doing business in the United States, that's why I said that to you, because you may have to have a distribution channel. I'm trying to get her attention. That's okay. For to be a small business, at least under this certification or designation, you do have to operate within the United States or make a significant contribution to the U.S. economy. That's what she was talking about with the particular license that you have to have. It's independently owned. I don't think that's a big deal. The other one I think is really a bizarre reason. It's dominant. It's not dominant. I have no idea why they didn't put that in there. It makes no difference. It's ridiculous. Okay, again, keep in mind this is a very strict definition. Everything here changes, of course.
What would that mean, not dominant in this national?
Basically, it means that you are not maybe the leader in an industry, but it's stupid,
Yeah,
obviously, because you could absolutely be a leader and have one person.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I'm just saying, guys, come up higher when I'm talking about. Just like, okay, I wouldn't believe it for a minute either. Okay, here's the other thing that I think is really interesting to me, and Tessa shared this in our group. We have 28.8 million small businesses. 97, it's like 99% of our workforce, literally, is small business. The entire U.S. economy runs on the back of a small business. So if you ever hear that we're not paying attention to them and things aren't happening, it's a mistake. I can actually tell you, it drives the economy, literally. So these big businesses, that's what you hear about. Truth is, that's not the one that's the most important. It's these guys. It's our little businesses. Every year, this is a great statistic, you have 627 new businesses open, however, close to 595,000 close. So, one of the things I will be going through is some decision points. Why do you really want to be a small business? Why do you really want to launch even? And I would also tell you, even though it's for launching, it's also exactly the same thing if I tell you you're developing a new division, a new product, new service. A lot of the decision points aren't all that different wording, but pretty much similar. Some of the reasons, this is a good statistic, over 30% of our businesses do fail in the first 2 years. And here's the kicker here is in 10 years, 66%. It's a huge number. But again, there's a lot of risks, a lot of rewards. So there's a lot of trade-offs here. Primary reason, bottom line is really, it has to do with non-existent planning and inadequate cash flow. And it pretty much comes out to it every single time. I mean, we can talk about all these other stuff, but it really isn't. It's going to come down to funding and money and bad management. So if you have an opportunity, you have enough money, farm it out. Get yourself an accountant, make sure, a bookkeeper, make sure you understand your numbers. 75%, this is a great statistics. Today you hear this word bootstrapping. Back in my day, it was like, or crowdsourcing. Back in my day, it was like, Mom, Dad, give me some money. Pretty much. I mean, that's really the sad truth of it, okay? But just I thought you might enjoy this. A shoestring budget to me is kind of fun. Walmart, $20,000 in a VA loan right after World War II. Not bad, guys. That was a pretty good one. So what happened, what that literally meant was Sam Walmart, the guy who was the head of it, that's what he did. He went and just got himself a VA loan. He got out of, the Army, boom, there it was. Domino's, this was $2,500 from the SBA to launch Domino's Pizza. That's crazy. Well, right, yeah, I mean, really bizarre things, right? Starbucks, $3,000, and that came from their friends and family. So again, we call it crowdsourcing now. Exactly the same concept. It's a beg. You really want to know. I mean, if I'm putting it blatant, that's the bottom line. This I think is funny. This is the reason I put this up. You guys are all over here. We're in LA, right? So that's why I wanted to get much local. But the thing that's so interesting is California today accounts for 14% of our gross national product. That's a really big deal. We also have, though, this is interesting, in an overall California, we've only been growing at 2.5%. However, this is why I bring it up, is because LA County, which is of what Silicon Valley, Playa, Culver City, that the GDP itself is growing at 3.2%. Another factor, if you want to just look at this one little area that we're in, which is LA County, we're growing at 14%. And that's the reason that's driving a lot of the business decisions too, because you know that growth will continue. Now, not just now, but it will plan to continue for the next 10 years, primarily because of the Olympics coming in.
So compared to Northern California, how much are we?
Of Northern California, we're about 65% of that right now. Northern California is a little bit lower than us right now, and LA is just being driven by different parameters than there ever was
So
before.
that 14% that you're saying, 65% of that is coming from Southern?
That is correct. Right. So if you guys are wondering, are you in the right location? Yes, you absolutely are. Whether you're in the right business, that's a different decision. But is this hot? Yeah. This place is not going to get any hotter. It's not. And you are exactly where you want to be in respect to understanding the market, especially in this particular chamber. Even more so, guys, in Culver City. Even though Culver City's still hot, but it's not growing like it is right here. Okay, the money's flowing in. People want to be here. We have a huge business community. They want the business. Okay, so that means you got to go get them, or they got to come to you somehow. So keep that in mind. The reason I wanted to bring this up, the South Bay, even though we are really not focused on that here, or because you're LAX Coastal, there is an incredible appetite there as well for venture capital. And all this just tells you is all these things have money coming in, not just from the public sector, coming in from the private sector as well. Okay, why do we start a business, guys? Bottom line, little smiley faces. You're ready to be a boss. That's always a good one, right? You want to pursue your passion? I like it, but I'm not sure if it really gets you anywhere. But it's good that you like what you do, because you're going to do it all the time. Opportunity, that's great. You just decide, it's time, right? But here's the other reason. You're dissatisfied with corporate America, and you've been laid off or you've outsourced. Now, the problem with these last two, though, it's not a good enough reason to start a business because of what you're going to go through to create your business and get it started. It's just not. It'll fuel you only to a little point, and after that, ain't so great. You hope you pick a passion of something you're interested in. Okay, so you want to be self-employed. Here's some decision points. Part of what I do is make sure you want to be self-employed. Okay, so there is a big line between your work time and personal time. Guess what? It's gone. You do not have much personal time because that's what you're doing pretty much 24/7 if you truly are an entrepreneur. Also, my favorite is, if you have a big problem, it's yours. It's no longer, my advisor, or it's not my, my employer. No, that doesn't work like that. There is no certainty or source of income. That's the big thing. If you want to get a 2-week paycheck, that's great, and it's certain, but keep that in mind. You can't count on that anymore, can you? There's no health care. That's a big one. So COBRA is always good, right? Or you're married to somebody who can give you health care, but this is a big issue. And make sure as you do this, you are very aware of it. If you ever did need health insurance, thank God there's associations for the different areas that we are all in, and they do offer it for small businesses. Retirement savings, this is a really good one. As you know, in big business, right, or in any little businesses too, over 50 and above, they force you to save. That doesn't happen anymore. In a small business, what happens? Your money's going out to pay expenses. So you have to enforce it, or you will have no retirement when it's all said and done. That is a big deal. Okay, so again, I know you have copies of it. Really, really focus on this because it's really important to make sure you understand the ramifications of a small business. Okay, these are what we call the top do's and the top don'ts. Okay, so if you are going to open a business, these are truly just decision points. Okay, so these are just some little advice that we give people. Just out and tell you, live frugally. Guess what? You need to be starting saving for your money, your business. It's important, right? You want to, you have to decide. Learn this is key, guys, because I can't tell you how many people come to me at SBDC, they don't have a clue the business they want to go into. Not a clue. Okay, that tells me two things. Not that it's not a clue, they may even have the passion, but they can't get a loan. There's no experience, they have no skills, none. Okay, I can't build anything from that. So the first thing they get to do is research with me. And that is, Tess just went through this with me yesterday, but that's a good process, okay, because I force them now to tell me, or guess what, you're going to get a job in that field, and you're going to be there for at least a year, and then you'll come back and we'll talk. Okay, because I got to know you love it, you hate it, or whatever. And my favorite are restaurant people that don't have a clue what that means. Consider moonlighting. So all that just means is after your hours, moonlight. Look and try it, even if you're volunteering, but get a feel. This is what you want to do. Great. Just make sure it is what you want to do. Other things, take advantage. Here's the thing, I always love this one. Family businesses are great. There's a good and a bad of a family business. Obviously, it's the family. I don't know how your family is. I wouldn't work for mine, personally. And a family business does not mean just hiring your brother or sister, guys. It isn't. It's been in the family for generations. And a lot of families, I have to absolutely tell you, if you do get an opportunity, sometimes it's the best thing you can ever happen. Ever. Because it's already established. Let's make sure you don't screw it up. But that's a different issue. That's a screwing it up problem, okay? But not because that opportunity isn't there. A lot of people I know that don't live in this country, okay, in particular in the Asian markets, they all come to school here because that's where they're being told to train, but they're going to go back to that family business. And I can't tell you how many times I've sit as a professor with them, and we talk, I don't want to do it, And I'm like, are you kidding me? Why aren't you doing it? And then you find out it's like this enormous business. They've been doing it for 25, 30 years. I mean, it's like the weirdest thing, but I get it. They want to be on their own, especially a millennial or a Gen Z. They want to get out. Subcontracting. That's always good. So what I'm suggesting is basically you're just mimicking places that you might be interested in. Learn more about them. In respect to test your market, I'm not telling you to go out and actually do test marketing. No. What I'm asking you to do is go talk to people about their product or service and make sure you understand what they're doing. Because you're going to be doing something very similar. You want to make for and against. This is really important, especially even if you're going to expand your business, same reason. You want to know why not. And be realistic with yourself, because the only person you're hurting if you're not is yourself. Talk to anybody. Everybody wants to talk to you about their new business. They think it's flattering. It's great. Do make a comparative analysis of all the opportunities. Don't just stop at one. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. It's you. It's your time. There are, I don't know, a lot of you guys wouldn't even know this, but There are now university programs that are helping people do think tanks, which is really interesting. So that's where a lot of people are going. So it's a much cheaper entry into a business and not spend a ton of money doing a business without having that backing yet. Here's what we call the don'ts. Do not think about leaving your job. That's a big deal. Okay, unless you really have something. I can't tell you how many people come to me, they have no savings, they've got nothing. Okay, so I'm like, great, you're not gonna go get yourself a business and you got no money coming in. So that's the first thing I ask somebody too. Do you have money? Where is it? I don't care what it is, I just gotta know you got something in the bank. Don't consider it in a field you do not enjoy. That's a really big one, because you will just recreate the same dissatisfaction you started with. Next one, do not compete, obviously. If you're gonna stay with your employer, don't create a competing business directly right when you start. You will get creamed and you will get run out of business. And also check if you have a non-compete, it's just a thought. Don't select a business that's too high risk, or the hurdles to get in is what we call it. It's the hurdles to entry are too hard. Because you'd be surprised how that can kill you. This one, you know, a lot of people do, you know, the low price business, especially when we're doing import-export. Guess what? Over time, there's no money there. You will get absolutely creamed. You have to price according to the market. You also have to price according to the channel that you're in and how you're selling your product. So you have to keep all these different factors in mind. Again, talk to somebody else who's been in this business. Do not, this is a good one, go talk to people who are in your field. Ask them, good, bad, and ugly. I want to know. Then you can make an educated decision. Do you want to do this or you don't? Don't let, this is a really funny one. Entrepreneurs historically are very arrogant. They have to be. But don't let that also make you do foolish things because of that same self-esteem. Okay? It's a really big deal in your head at the same time. It will absolutely, again, tank you. Don't let a promise, this is a good one, of high rewards necessarily deter reality testing. Okay? Because reality does, it's amazing how it comes back and bites you in business. It's just one of those little facts of our life. Okay, so if you are starting a business, or if you're starting a new part of your business, or even if you're looking at your own business, this year, like, oh my God, where am I? What am I doing, right? And this is kind of what you're going to go through, and you need to go through this every single year. Or really, I tell people to do this really every 3 to 6 months. Are you on track? Do you know what you're talking about? What's the next new thing? Because a lot of small business owners get in this horrible trap of just doing this next thing, and they don't think ahead. And the market, and the market especially right now, it changes every 3 to 6 months. Every 3 to 6 months. In any business you're in. You have to be forward thinking as well as day-to-day thinking as a small business owner. Okay, I'm sorry, you saw this, but here is when you start a business, this is really just really kind of cute, but the truth is you plan it, you're gonna launch it, you're gonna manage it, and then you're gonna grow it, okay? So, a lot of times people come in when they're planning their business, whatever part they're in. This is where I spend a lot of time with people over here. It's all about what's going on, helping you develop your business plan. Who is your competition? How much is it gonna cost? How are you funding this little guy? You know, what's gonna happen? And then there's some interesting decision points within this alone. And then these, all these are the next part of your real business. And I'll give you some of those information right now. But one of the biggest decision points you're gonna have, there's 3 of them. Okay, you can own your own business. People love owning their own business, but it's 100% your risk and 100% your reward. It's not bad, but you also have to establish a market for yourself. That is simply the biggest challenge in owning your own business. You also have to know your customer, your selling approach. It's all on you, right? You can also buy an existing one. Now, it's true that you're going to buy it, you're going to spend 100% of your money, but it is an existing business. And if it is somewhat successful, you can capitalize on their success and do even better. But you have an existing customer, you have an existing approach, you also have existing problems. That's the good and bad of that. And it depends on your situation with the actual owner and if they're going to continue or not. A lot of times when I have people buying businesses, all the information about the business, what the real jewels of the business, they're not written down. That's a real problem. One of the things I can tell any of you, if you want to ever sell your business or exit, you have to document what your business is. Because when you sell it, that's one of the factors that we're looking at. It's the net worth of that company. Buy a franchise. That's always a good one. The problem with, there's the good and the bad of a franchise to me. Franchise can be extremely expensive to buy. okay? You can get a McDonald's, it's gonna cost you, what, how much? It's close to 10 million, I mean, it's very expensive now. But there's a lot of reward that come with it because it's a very existing, well-known brand. Now, if you're gonna buy a franchise, you have to stay within the franchisor's information and operating structure. And they're very, very specific and strict. Now, not every franchise is like that, and as you all know, there's hundreds and hundreds of franchises, and you're seeing them all around, because it does give people entry into being a business owner. So any of these three will get you in as a business owner if that's truly what you want to do. If you want to do this, the truth is going to be that franchisor is going to put you guys through school. They are going to teach you how to do business, but there is a reason they will pick you. Primarily, they're looking at your financials, your experience, your location, who you are. Okay, I thought this was fun to me. What are the top businesses in 2019? These are the ones that are trending right now. And this is kind of fun. The microbrewery, you're seeing them everywhere, but why? It's a big industry, but it's very expensive to start up. Okay, so a lot of times I get people that come in and I ask them, okay, so what business are you in? Which is fine. They can pick any of these kind of things and then we make it happen, or they can pick something else. But this gives you an idea. This is what we know is happening right now and what will be popular this year and next year. We know food trucks, big deal. I'm shocked myself about the receptivity of the customer, but it's there. But it's very specific in how you have to do it. But it is $2.2 billion industry, food trucks. You gotta be kidding me, right? It's amazing. E-bikes drive me nuts. Myself, I don't know, I trip on them. But they are so unbelievably well received right here. 50 plus million units in 2018? You gotta be kidding me. All right, that just tells you they're gonna be around for a while. Virtual reality, you guys, you see it, right? But the good thing about them, those headsets, 2,000 to 10,000 a pop, not a bad deal, right? So again, but you have to understand them if you're gonna do it. Either a healthy vending machine or what they're doing is nails, right? Where they take the, they're like artistic nails, right? And you can go, they're like in the different malls, and you get all different kinds. Yeah. And nails, because they actually have a machine that's already there, and you just buy the machine and you create a little kiosk. Just kind of an odd, but it's an inexpensive entry point if that's something you're interested in. Or, of course, if you really do want to do healthy food. I mean, clearly that's another one. Drones, you're seeing them everywhere, right? Drones right now are about this close to getting FAA approval. I don't know, maybe with the shutdown, maybe it'll take them a while, but I don't know. There's a good and bad for me personally. I've had people get whacked by these drones in their backyards. Not real good. Smartphone repair. Dumb, sounds dumb, right? 24/7, fix it. Does great. People love it. Gotta have it. Gluten-free, this is another one. I personally know it's trendy. Big business. Big business. Elder care, of course. Clearly, anything you're going to do with elder care is always going to be a big deal. And this one I think is interesting. Post-production of video services, but that's because of mobile. And mobile right now is 90% of what we do for anything on Google search. Are you kidding me? In a minute. Anyway, here's actually your business flow. So it's a really easy flow. It just gives you the steps. So again, the biggest one, test your idea. Is there a potential? So does it make sense? Create the plan. You don't always have to create a plan. The reason you do that really is just to understand what you're trying to do. More than any reason. If you're trying to get money, you have no choice to do a plan. Okay. Now the difference between a market plan and a business plan are numbers. It's pretty much a big difference. Find funding. How are you funding this little guy? Create your business branding. That's so far in arrears to everything else, the brand. It's so far in the back. The best business structure, I'm going to talk to you right now about that. Secure the rights to the business, get a shop front. But you can see there's some very specific, and it never changes. The decision points never change. All right. So here are the things, just a general overview before you start. Okay? You first want to do your personal, what I call just your strengths, weaknesses, what are your goals. If you go online, guys, you can find these business templates just to help you work through your idea, or you come into somebody like me at SBDC and we work through the idea with you, just to make sure the idea itself makes sense before you even go any further. Okay? Research forms of business, that's going to be whether you're a sole proprietor, a partnership, a corporation, LLC. What are you picking and why? For most of you, until you get to about $150,000, you're gonna end up being a sole proprietor. Once at that point, you should consider flipping to an LLC. Also, this decision isn't a lawyer, it comes from your accountant. And it has to do with you personally, whether you want to be liable or not. Obviously, you're going to start a draft. That's what I'm talking about. But right when I'm beginning of a concept, I actually will talk already to the lawyer and accountant just to see what do they suggest. And they'll give you some really, rules to follow by just to so you know how to structure your business. Obviously, business location, one of the biggest things I see lots and lots, people don't consider business insurance for their business. And for a lot of people that are like lawyers and doctors, they gotta have liability insurance, right? Or you have to have, if anybody's gonna infringe on you, you also have to have intellectual property. There's all these different reasons, but you do wanna talk, and that's a property and casualty commercial realtor, insurance person. It's not your life guy, okay? When you hear the New York Life, no, it is a commercial property person. You also wanna look at local codes, and there's codes everywhere for every one of our businesses. IP, I have a client right now, he's a very big IP guy. What that means is intellectual property. He's a gamer. He has created already 25 different games, and every one of them got ripped off because he didn't use an IP attorney. Okay, so in his business, he wants to create an IP company, no problem. Your partner, though, however, is an IP attorney. That's what we put him with, because he's too fuzzy.
What does IP stand for?
Intellectual property.
Intellectual property.
And not everything is intellectual property, too. Select a domain name. I will actually tell you, this is one of the first things, even though it's way down on the list. The reason is you want to know. Go to GoDaddy. It costs you 99 cents. Find out if your name is there. Whatever you want to name your company, doesn't matter, okay? Just make sure, because you can't do a website if you don't have a domain. You also can't get an email if you don't have a domain. Okay? This is the cheapest part of this process. Okay? But you always got to keep this in mind that in this day and age, you don't have a business without a website. Just fact. You want to obtain, some people want a phone number. Obviously now we do it on our cell phone. Obviously business bank accounts and all this. A lot of times they're going to ask you for these things, especially when you go to the next step. Okay, so I don't know, do you guys know about the business structures? These are actual choices, okay? This is, you ever heard of a DBA? Okay, doing business, it's also a sole proprietorship. Okay, so that's one type. Most of you guys, almost every one of you here will be a sole proprietor unless you happen to have a partnership. Because you'd have to make enough money for it to make sense to go to a different level. A corporation, obviously that's the best one, it protects you, but you also have shareholders and you have a board of directors, there's all sorts of things that go along with that particular structure. We also have, this is kind of our hybrid right now, it's an LLC. What it is, it's really easy to set up, it's very similar to sole proprietorship. However, it doesn't require certain types of officers, it's not as stringent as you set it up, but the liability is your corporation, not you personally. So again, risk-reward kind of situation with your structures. If you want to know more about it, bottom line, this is a really good summary, but what I like to do isn't who and what. The positives, obviously, the negatives are the most important. So when you're looking at a sole proprietorship, the biggest problem here is your personal liability and your personal business debts. They can go after your personal assets. You screw up, they can get your house if that's the case. It can happen. Limited liability, usually there's some cost to it. You can do it, usually it's about $1,000, a little bit less, that's how much. But a corporation, God knows, it can cost you, $1,000, it can cost you up to $10,000. Depends on the corporation, depends on what you really need. But it all comes down to how much you want to spend. It depends on the type of business you're actually going to be in. Okay, so if you have like for example, my guy is an intellectual property, he will not have a choice. He cannot be a sole proprietor. He has to already be a limited liability. It doesn't matter, he's only one or two people. It's the type of business he happens to be in. Makes a big difference. Okay, so here's your steps. So, first thing, obviously, picking a name. This sounds like, oh, no big deal, right? Yeah, right. Okay, you need to go online. If it pops up, that's not a good name, right? So that's what we do now. We just go in and we pick up names and we try them. Okay. The other way, honestly, go into GoDaddy If you're looking for a domain name, you can also figure out if it's gonna work for you too. Is a regular name. All right, you need to register it. There are different forms for each type. Again, it has to do with, again, the formation and the structure of what you want, whether you're a proprietorship, an LLC, or you are a corporation. But each one of these has a different strategy behind it. This one is important. If you're a sole proprietor, you'll use your social security number. If you're not, you get something called an EIN, and that's how the government tracks you. That's for tax purposes more than anything. It's also, if you have vendors, you would use that number on your forms. You can open your accounts. You don't have to. Most people don't. You don't have. It's up to you. It's really how you want to keep your money. Most people do separate it, so they know exactly where it's going to the business and what's going to them. It's a hard thing when you start merging your expenses. Your license and permits, basically the best place you can go is just go to your local community. Every community has its own specific parameters on how you would set your business and what are your licenses. Literally, you go online, I want to set up a, let's say a healthcare business in Inglewood, boom. And they will give you, literally, they will check it off, check, and they'll tell you the expenses of it, and if you need it and what you also need for it. And it'll also, they will also tell you some of the requirements that actually go with the type of business or structure that you have. I tell you, you can look at the city, you can also look at the state, and everyone's different. Culver City, for example, is you actually have to physically go to Culver City and you have to sign up your business. It's interesting. Everybody else is online, so you have to know and make sure you do exactly what they tell you to do. And if you don't know, ask. But do follow their instruction. They will also tell you if you have a, let's say you have a location, it will tell you also other things. If you're going to have a building, what is your actual zoning, what's the signage. I bring up signage because I can't tell you how many small businesses they come in and they never took that into account, and it's based on not just the city where it's at, it's just based on the location that you've challenged, and then it's based on, let's say if you're in a strip mall, they may have very specific requirements, and they will tell you how many feet it can be from the street. It can tell you the type, very specific, and anytime I look at this for a customer, it's probably 60 to 100 pages long to tell you. It's like the weirdest, you can't imagine, right? Those signs you see them up there? Mm-hmm. The one that's, the little one that lights up, that's $20,000. I mean, just like dumb, like you cannot imagine, okay, how expensive that could be. Anyway, last thoughts. Obviously, there are places you guys can go. You can just look. You want to establish a small business? Go online, it'll be there. Okay, there's really not much I can tell you. Of course, I can take you through that process if that's what you want us to hold your hand. But as you can tell, the majority of what we're going to spend time on is getting you not to do the business. Because I got to make sure you're serious. And I will question every one of your decisions, and you want me to do that. If you can convince me, then I'll say, great, let me see if I can help you now. Let's do a business. And we spend a lot of time with that. Once you're in a business, same thing, tell you the truth. I talk to you a lot about not just your numbers. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Does it make sense? Have you come up with a real strategy for every piece of what you're doing for your business? And that's a lot of what we spend our time doing. But we do launch, I'm sorry again, this was a much higher level.
Sure.
So, but if you're interested, we have people also at SBDC that can help you. But again, it's hard, in this forum for me to address that. So anyway, that was a very fast version of how to start a business in 30 seconds or not. So, hi, I'm Deb. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more information, feel free to contact our SBDC at southbaysbdc.org. Thank you.